Welcome back to the ANJC podcast. I'm your host today, Dr. Mike Acanfora. I'm thrilled to have on the show Dr. Chuck Berg. Chuck, how are we doing today?
We're doing well, Mike. And once again, thank you for the opportunity to share.
It's absolutely my pleasure. I'm going to read Dr. Berg's bio, and then we're going to get into the interview today. Really excited about this one. Dr. Berg has been practicing for almost 5 decades. So for nearly 5 decades, Dr. Charles Berg has dedicated his life to helping people discover that true health is not something that we find. It's something we cultivate through our daily choices. Since opening his chiropractic practice in 1977, he's cared for thousands of patients while championing a philosophy that extends far beyond the treatment room. Align the spine, eat from the vine, and calm the mind. From 1978 through 1984, Dr. Berg served as a faculty member at New York Chiropractic College, helping educate the next generation of healthcare professionals. In 2005, Dr. Berg further expanded his lifelong commitment to holistic health by completing a year-long program at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition in New York City. The experience deepened his understanding of the profound relationship between nutrition, lifestyle, stress, and overall well-being. Since then, he has integrated these principles into both his chiropractic practice and his executive lifestyle consulting, helping individuals look beyond symptoms and embrace a more comprehensive path to health and vitality. Throughout his career, he's also had the privilege of speaking to organizations including UBS, BMW North America, and Mass Mutual, sharing practical strategies for creating healthier, more purposeful lives. He's also the author of Is Your Lifestyle Killing You? How to Chase Dreams Without Sacrificing Your Health and Your Sanity in 2007, and also his new book, now it's called The Wisdom Lab. Doc, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for that intro. Greatly appreciate it.
That is amazing. Almost 50 years. How did chiropractic choose you?
That's a great question because that's exactly what happened. So, Mike, to make a long story brief, I went to City University, actually Queens College, and my mom says, you should be a dentist, Chuck, because you got good hands. And isn't that interesting? A mother's intuition, Mike. But after attending a year there, I realized that the whole game of pre-med was not what was for me. So I grew up in the Bronx, New York. I was a jock. I loved playing ball. And to make a long story short, I went into the area of exercise physiology. And in my last year of college, I received a graduate assistantship to the University of Maryland for a PhD in exercise phys. And then serendipitously, I took a job working at one of the first European health spas in Scarsdale. And there was a young man there who seemed to ask me lots of questions. His name was Dr. Mike Chimes, chiropractor. And he asked me what I was doing with my life. I shared that with him. And he says, have you ever considered chiropractic? I said, I don't even know what that is. He expressed great interest in me. I was curious. And chiropractic found me. And one last thing, Mike, New York Chiropractic College, at our introductory meeting, Ernest Napolitano, who was the president of NYCC, he introduced himself and then was interested in all of us. And he said, many of you have had some incident in your life, football injury, trauma, and you found chiropractic to be your answer. And a few others, you were chosen. And Mike, my hair stood up on my arms. I couldn't believe he was saying that because that was exactly my situation.
Amazing. My staff had asked me earlier in the day, what is the one question that I ask? And is there any commonality in the people you've interviewed? And I said, really, really interesting is that there really isn't commonality. People come from all walks of life. And the one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the older like myself, male doctors, is we were all in athletics and we all wound up getting hurt. It might not have been our introduction to chiropractic, but that is one of the commonalities that I've seen. I got sent to chiropractic school by a medical doctor.
Wow.
First one, I said, I want to go for physical therapy. He goes, nah, you want to be a medical doctor. And I said, I don't really believe in medicine. I think it just masks the symptoms most of the time because you want to be a chiropractor. So
Ah,
amazing to me at that time. And I said the exact same thing you did, Chuck. But I didn't even know what that is.
they, but you know what, Mike, when I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition at the end, we had 1,000 people graduating, and I just walked across the stage. And they asked you for one word that was meaningful to you. And my word was serendipity. Because serendipity, if we really reflect on our lives, Mike, and it's not me, it's every one of us had these very serendipitous moments where we have intentions in our lives, but yet, that expression, the universe has your back. And I really feel that that was certainly in my particular case, because never asked for this profession, never knew about the profession. And when we look in the rearview mirror of life, Mike, and I ask anybody who's listening to this, really quiet yourself and ask yourself that question: where has serendipity showed up in my world? Because it's there for all of us, and sometimes we're not even cognizant of it. But it is quite profound, and it has shown up many times in my world.
Many, many, many times in mine as well. I have to add that every day when I start my day, I list the things that I'm grateful for. And I need to add serendipity. That's a great one word to add to all the other things that I am grateful for because, like you said, the serendipity that's appeared at the exact time that it needed to appear is nothing less than miraculous for
Yeah.
me.
Yes. So
Um,
getting
talk
back,
to us.
you
Uh,
have any specific questions? One of the things I just wanted to share was
sure.
my own deep, profound interest in nature. I had that well before going to chiropractic college, and I found that, here in the chiropractic philosophy, when I first went to school, I so resonated with it because to this day, Mike, I share with patients and I say, we drive to work, we live in the suburbs, I see deer, I see squirrels, I see all sorts of animals. And I shared this with a nurse the other day, and I told her, think about it. There's not one other species on this planet that goes to a store, for its food. So we talk about, the natural order of things and just that whole idea about the human body being a self-healing and self-regulating machine was another concept that resonated so deeply. So I just felt that I was in the right place. And then I wanted to learn, how do I articulate this message so that I can get this out to the world? Because I opened up in Rivervale, New Jersey, where I am now, starting my 50th year. I came from the Bronx, New York. I didn't know a soul. And it was quite, intimidating to try to run a business. Not one person in my family was a business person. They were all working blue collar people. So that was challenging. But what I can say is that if we have a conviction, if we have something that we feel strongly about, we can stand behind it with great confidence and certainty, and somehow our capacity to communicate a message, words from the heart and to the heart. And I think this goes back to all of us and anybody who watches this as a practitioner. It's really important. And that's what my new book, The Wisdom Lab, it's all about taking a deep dive, Mike, into ourselves. This is less about bones and nerves and kinesiology and the adjustment as it is what is coming from you, this energy field. And I believe so strongly in that. We don't realize it, but all we are, that's what the quantum physicists tell us, right? We're just a bunch of energy. And the all important question, Mike, for all of us is to go deep within ourselves and ask, how am I showing up? How am I showing up? First of all, where's my integrity? Where's my sincerity? And I bring that up too, Michael, because at 50 years, I get all of our rag journals that come through, and this is just my own personal feeling. But years back, man, we would go to seminars and whatnot, and we were fired up by sharing a philosophy and the commitment of service. And everything I look at today is something else to buy, something else to buy. This is going to change your practice. And I've asked people who bought whatever those things are, and it's just not the same. And I only wish that, the newer practitioners can go back to their philosophy, go back to an understanding of why did I choose the profession? And I found that those that are tied into their philosophy, their commitment, their integrity are the ones that are the happiest, not necessarily the most financially successful. But that's another thing that has shown in 50 years, no matter across the board in healthcare and in every other profession. Baseball used to be the American pastime, and now it's making money, and everything is oriented towards dollars. And I ask people to question that, because there's something that much greater than we've done all very well within. Chiropractic been Betty good to me. It has worked out very, very well. But I just wanted to share that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Talk to us about your commitment to principles of a natural lifestyle, Chuck.
Well, getting back to that, first of all, I'm going to reiterate, see the human, but not only the human body, but look all of nature. We are the only species that sees any doctor, sees any kind of practitioner, goes for evaluations and checkups. Nature is phenomenal, and these species have been on the planet for millions and millions of years. So I love studying. The other word that I ask people to look at is curiosity.
Absolutely.
If you're curious, it's going to give rise to a whole host of questions. Questions drive you to a better understanding. Back to your question, I look at nature and I look at how these species have survived for millions of years without interference, which is one of the principles that we were taught in school. Your body will work beautifully, just don't interfere with it. But Mike, you and I know, and we're all guilty, we interfere. And this is what drove me when I'm going to share this little book, and that's What Is Your Lifestyle Killing You? So back in 2007, I wanted to write this book to give people an opportunity to self-inquire once again, because we're blinded to our own actions. And that's an interesting phenomenon of human beings. We have illusions about how we're living our lives, the choices, the rituals that we make, and they're critical. So unless we quiet ourselves and give ourselves the opportunity to assess, we go on with these illusions. And let's face it, we study the blue zones. I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Sure.
Ask why these people are not smarter, brighter. They don't have the technology, and they're living extraordinarily extraordinarily long lives and quality lives. So they send in National Geographic, scientists evaluate. They're working 12 hours a day. They're eating food that grows, and they have a wonderful social relationship. So I'm actually challenging myself, despite a lot of people thinking that I'm crazy, but I have so far in 74 years just done eating intelligently, I'm an exerciser. I see a chiropractor on a weekly basis, not even that it's my desire. He's 28 years younger, but he says, Chuck, would you be willing to come and care for me once a week? And we'll exchange. And I do. And so far, with the grace of God, I've been very, very healthy without complexities. And it is my choice to use myself as this barometer. And that's what I'm doing. And I do believe. So I'm living by the principle. And I think when patients can hear it, doesn't mean they have to do that. I would never suggest it. But I'm living myself the way I see how natural works well in our lives, Mike.
Absolutely. Chuck, what do you do to actually quiet yourself? Is there a practice? Tell me about it.
We've all heard of, I love getting up early in the morning. I was a competitive swimmer in high school and college, so that automatically made you get up early. I've been doing that ever since. But that beautiful morning, to your point of gratitude, I do journal every single morning. I write something acknowledging my gratitude, most importantly, how I want to show up, to my patients, to my friends, to my family, in terms of being loving, caring, supportive, nurturing, blah, 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 blah. May sound boring, but it's a ritual. I believe, Michael, that the mind is like a wild horse, It needs to be domesticated. If not, the thoughts are pervasive. They're there 24/7, 365. And when people do quiet themselves and give themselves an opportunity to contemplate their contemplations, you're going to find that most of that self-talk is not empowering. It's rather disempowering. And as a result, it is my job, just like I need to train a bicep or a pectoral muscle, the mind is very much a muscle. And I'm reiterating what people know, but we need to spend more time in a world that is so full of distractions and notifications and noise. I also take walks in the woods with my wife often, or take our bikes out and go onto a rail trail in the woods, because I do believe, and I've read, that this is what stimulates the parasympathetic system of the body. So you have to live with intention, Mike. And I tell patients and friends all the time, we all have great intentions.
Yep.
Our job is to put attention on our good intentions.
Could you say that again?
Yes, I'm saying that all of us have great intentions.
Yep.
But what's important is to quiet ourselves so that we can put attention on our good intentions. Because most of the time, the intentions, which is why everybody has goals and aspirations, and yet most of the time, they're caught in the groove of the vinyl record, and round they go. So intentions are great, goal setting is great, but many times we have to really sit down. And to your point, Mike, being busy is not necessarily the answer. Quality time alone, solitude. I share with people that just like, and I go back to nature, if you've ever been in the mountains on a quiet morning and you have a lake in front of you, you see the most incredible reflection of the sky and the mountains around us. Why? Because the lake is quiet. And it is only in your quietness that you can have reflection and understanding and dig deeper into your own, excavation of yourself. Most of us don't do this. And I have found this to be so extraordinarily helpful. But when it's not part of your ritual, I've also learned, like Joe Dispenza says, breaking the habit of being yourself. Not easy. It is deeply woven into our nervous system. So if people want to change and people want to improve, they have to take a deep dive and understand. And that's, Mike, why I came up with my triune of truth. Align the spine, eat from the vine, and calm the mind. And if you give me a moment, I'll just kind of explain. Align the spine, not just because I'm a chiropractor. It's not just an alignment. It's a metaphor. Align the spine is that the body needs movement. As stated earlier, those people are found to be moving 12 hours a day. Even when you and I might exercise for a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour in the morning, if we spend the next 12 to 14 hours on our ass, which is what most people do, it's not that it wasn't worth it, but we have to figure out how do we get little nuggets of motion and movement in that interim, probably more important than it would be otherwise. We treat movement, we treat exercise as a potential hobby, maybe if I get to it. It is critical. Yeah. And bottom line, also, eating from the vine is very simple. I'm not a nutritionist. I can't go into, please don't ask me biochemical questions. Honestly, I don't think that is the crucial factor. In this new book called The Wisdom Lab, the essence of this is to address the fact that it's not about more knowledge. It's about taking action on what already we know. I tell patients, I wake up in the morning, and besides doing that little journaling, I take care of aligning the spine, eat from the vine, because that's when exercise is being had. Went to a standard process seminar 20 years ago, and they talked about that what the cells of your body need are phytonutrients and all of the macro and micronutrients that the body has. Where do you get it? From basically plant fruits and vegetables. We've all heard it. But it's taking action. So every day we make a shake, reaching in and grabbing arugula and pineapple, blueberry, straw, whatever you have. But we do it when? Every day. Take a look. ladies and gentlemen, at your rituals. Your rituals will define where you're going to be 10 years from now.
I haven't stopped writing. I do this with all the interviews I write down, and you've laid out some amazing nuggets for us today. I do have a couple more questions if you have the time.
Please. Yeah, go right
So
ahead.
you've been practicing for half a century. What gives you joy and satisfaction?
The thing that gives me the greatest level of joy and satisfaction is, I think, Michael, I can say, is knowing that I've been significant. And how that shows up, first of all, we have patients, as you have, Michael, that have been with us 35, 40, 45 years.
Yeah,
And when I stop and think about that, that is freaking remarkable
yeah,
that they have that level of confidence and certainty in you as a person. And I think that I'm good with my hands. I do. But I also believe that, again, it's my heart, my mind, and what I want to share. I want to be of service. And in doing that, it lends itself to people who recognize they don't want to know how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And
yeah.
it's demonstrated, hopefully, with sincerity, with integrity, and with consistency. I write emails on a regular basis about everything I'm learning and reading, and I share it with my community. I don't ask for anything. I don't ask for them to send referrals to me. I haven't done marketing in probably 20 years, and I don't have the biggest practice in the world, but I have a wonderfully consistent one that renders me all of the financial needs that I need. And I've also gone through that, and I'll explain that. When I in that book, Is Your Lifestyle Killing You? Why did I write that? Because I was living out other people's expectations. Even within my profession, everything was about statistics and growing and whatnot. And I knew in my heart there has to be something more than just my numbers. Yeah. And that's when I dug deep in my quiet time. I asked for the real Chuck Berg, will you please stand up? And what it shared with me, Michael, is that there is more to this game than just how many people I see in a week, how much money I could make, not diminishing any of those things. We all need all of that. But I've read a million books. I was curious. When is enough enough? That's the name of a book, right? And the Harvard PhDs wrote that during the .com when these people were complaining they were only making $20 million and their friends were making $200 million. And I can only say that in my lifetime, the greatest amount of people that I have met, and I've worked with CEOs of major 500 companies, Fortune 500 companies, no happier than anybody else, other affluent people in the community, no happier. And if anything, oftentimes money, as we know, can sometimes drive bigger and bigger problems. So to your question, Michael, significance, showing up, being loved by them through their words and their actions and their commitment to me, their willingness to send me their children, their grandchildren. I don't know what more life is about, but I cannot think of another profession, at least how I've played this game, that could give me all of these 7 areas of my life and to be in tremendous gratitude and comfort. And the most important word, peace in my heart and peace in my mind.
I love that. Can you talk to us a little bit about your book, The Wisdom Lab, that you just put out?
Yeah, I wrote this book using the triune of truth. It's broken down into 3 seconds, recognizing just that. Align the spine, eat from the vine, calm the mind. And I think it's an awesome read. It would be a great read for a chiropractor because it will help to explain how I've been explaining to my patients. We talk about everything from the phenomenon of a single cell, a sperm and an egg, and you know the drill, right?
Yep.
And how the intelligence within that creates this. To me, unbelievable. Most patients never think about it. You know it. You went to school. We took embryology. The
Yep.
average Joe can't fathom. They may make the baby. They can't relate to what is happening. We talk about the cranial vault. We talk about how the primitive notochord cord becomes the spinal cord, and the vault. What do we put in vaults? Things that are so critically important. And then nature provides this incredible architecture of 31 nerves and 24 vertebrae to protect the most important organ. So it's really stressed. And we go into the whole idea about asking questions, deep questions. It's really a workbook. And what I will say is that this book was not meant to be read, it's meant to be lived. And I only hope that anyone, and it just went out on Amazon yesterday, which I'm sorry, last week, very excited about. And I do hope that it's going to lead to very interesting opportunities. The previous book led me to speak to the United Bank of Switzerland, BMW Corporation, and Mass Mutual. And we'll see. I put on my calendar a year from now what has happened since this book has gone out. But I believe that it has such an incredible capacity to pull from you. So your uniqueness, the complexities of your lives, the problems of your life are going to surface for you to address. Because if we don't and we push them away, we still live with tremendous amounts of distress and, yes, stress in people's lives. And it is my hope that the Wisdom Lab will draw, because it's not about more knowledge. It's about understanding how to communicate, how we should use appropriately the two ears and the one mouth that we have, when to hold back, when to share things. And it's just a whole plethora of wonderful tidbits that I've learned over 50 years that I just want to share. So this too is a blessing. And I do hope, I'm not going to make a ton of money. I understand that. I want to create the significance through the efforts of all of this, what I've learned, and share that with as many people that want to take a look at it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chuck. We're at the end of the lollipop.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on the show. Where can people find you in the world?
Well, my office, Rivervale Chiropractic Center in Rivervale, New Jersey. My site, not that it's so significant, but rivervalechiropractic.com. My office number is 201 666 5300. I don't have a major presence, in terms of online stuff. At 73, going on 74 years of age, I have not really taken advantage of, but I am now trying to utilize Facebook and so yes, you can see Chuck Berg under Facebook or Rivervale Chiropractic, and you can see the number of postings that I've had about the book, the value of it, and some of the comments that people who have read and or know me have shared, and that's been helpful. We're not Oprah Winfrey. We are not Michael Crichton. So when you don't have this orientation to the rest of the world, we depend upon, the few thousand people that I know, and if every one of them feels as though there's value, they share within their own messages. But Mike, I want to thank you, because someone like yourself, who's taking a lot more time than me to gather the incredible amount of life experiences and these kind of personal shares, I bet you learned an awful lot. And thank you for the ANJC and everything that you do, and cannot thank you enough.
Oh, I love doing it. I appreciate it, Chuck. You can also, folks, find the Wisdom Lab on Amazon, as well as How to Chase Dreams Without Sacrificing Your Health and Sanity. It's Dr. Chuck Berg who's written both. They're both on Amazon. I'll have links in the show notes, Chuck, so everybody can find that.
It's terrific, Michael. I cannot thank you enough.
You're very welcome. My pleasure. I never stopped writing. You dropped so many nuggets, my hand hurts, but
Okay.
I'll be fine. I'm a chiropractor.
That's a good thing. And you have my contact. Any other time you want to communicate or have a personal share, I'm always here for you, Michael.
Absolutely. Folks, if you like what you heard, please like and share this video. It's really important for us to help others. The stories that we tell as chiropractors have actually changed the arc of people's lives by allowing us the privilege of working together. And these stories are miraculous. These stories are remarkable. I'm thrilled to be able to help do my part in telling those stories. So please like and share. We'll see you the next time and have a good day, folks. Ciao.
Thank you, Mike.